Hello friends, I'm FIDE instructor Atul Dahale and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I am back with something interesting for you. In the semi-finals of Comedians on Board, Vaibhav Sethia was paired against Anirban, the previous Comedian on Board second part's winner, and the match was going to be very tough. But this match, although it started with a very solid opening, turned out to be a very big swindle, because at some point when the situation was getting very crucial and it was very tough, Anirban blundered his queen. Well, this game, you can say, the epic queen blunder we are going to see. But before we go to the further, I would like to say, in the opening phase, Vaibhav Sethia played amazingly well. He got a slight advantage, and in the middle game also he played in a very interesting manner. He took advantage his opponent's moves, and then he was almost there. But in crucial situation, anything can happen, and the rock solid Anirban made a big blunder and lost the game after that. But one more interesting fact about Vaibhav Sethia, I came to know just recently that he has played 10,000 games on chess.com, guys. This is a big number, because being a chess player myself also, I have played since many years. You can say 15 years I'm playing chess in international tournaments, also rated tournaments, but I have never played this many games on chess.com. So hats off to Vaibhav for his love for chess, and he really deserves to be there in the finals. So without further delay, let's get started with the game and understand what really happened in the game. But before we go further, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Let's start then. Anirban was white in this game, Vaibhav was black. The game started with d4, d5, bishop f4. Well, Anirban wants to play London system, it seems. He plays knight c6 in this position, and now e3. Well, there are other alternatives. We know some of the traps are also involved in this London system, with the moves like e5, g5, h5. But today is not that day. Vaibhav plays very rock solid. He plays bishop f5, and now black's one of the threats is knight b4 and attack the pawn on c2. So the next move, which was played by Anirban, seems to be okay, but he played c3 in this position, but that was okay. Knight f3 was also one of the options in this position, without fearing for the move that is knight b4, because even if you play c3 in this position, okay, now if you play c3, okay, knight c2 check is coming, that is the main threat. But we can play knight a3, supporting the pawn on c2, and whatever move you are going to play, let's suppose you play e6, c3 will be played, knight needs to go back, and now you can play knight c2 or knight b5, anything. I will prefer knight c2 in this position, followed by bishop d3, and white should be okay in this position, because the threats of b4, b5, a4 expanding on that side of the board are also there for white. Okay, so knight f3 was one of the options, but he played c3, very rock solid. He plays a6, stopping this bishop b5, all such kind of threats. Knight f3, both sides are developing their pieces. e6 is played, and now they go for the exchange of bishops. Bishop d3, bishop into d3, queen into d3. Vaibhav also did the same thing, bishop d6, and queen d6. This position is, now you can say, it's the position of knight games, means both sides are having 2 knights, and we can say that knights are very tricky, and you need to be always be careful for their knight force. So here queen e2 was played, which is okay. At some point we can say that e4 might come in the game, and we need to look out for those breakthroughs. Knight f6, controlling the e4 square. Knight bd2, again trying to get more control in the center of the board. Both the players are playing very solid, but here in this position, Vaibhav played a move which shows that he wants to be creative. He wants to try something in this position. That's why he goes for knight a5 move. Well, he is completely giving up the control of the central squares, that we agree. But what he wants to do in this position is that he wants to open up the c file. He wants to do something in this position. That's why he is playing knight a5. But objectively speaking, knight a5 is not the best move in this position, because we can say e5 was the most logical move, trying to get the control of the center, and this might lead to some kind of equal position that is completely acceptable playing from the black pieces. But we know that this is the semi-finals, and you need to be a little bit creative in order to win the game, and he did the same thing. He played knight a5. Vaibhav is giving up the center, so Anirban accepted. He plays knight e5, c5, trying to put some pressure on the d4 pawn, and now here Anirban makes a mistake. He plays long castle. Obviously, when you want to do something, you sometimes overstretch, and that is not something you should do. The first question you should ask yourself whenever you are castling, okay, will your king will be safe on that side of the board or not, because castling is usually done to safeguard your king and also to bring the rook in the game. Okay, he is bringing the rook, but safeguarding the king is not at all possible, because here you can see the rook c8 is going to come very soon, c4 followed by b5, b4, or even rook b8, and black's attack will be very quick in this position. And Anirban is not at all in a position where he can attack Vaibhav's king, and that's what he missed. Vaibhav understood this thing and very tactfully he played c4, blocking everything in that center, because it is said that whenever you want to do any kind of flank attack, you should try to close down the position. That is the first principle which you should not miss. Okay, one more thing is also there. Okay, when your opponent is attacking on you on any flank, then you should try to break in the center of the board. So e4 was definitely the best move in this position, trying to create some counterplay in the center of the board, but he did not play for that. He played g4, discouraging Vaibhav Sethia to not to go for the short castle, but Vaibhav was not at all in any mood to short castle in this position. He played b5. He said like, okay, you want to attack my knight, whatever it is, attack it. My king is safe in the center of the board as the center is not yet open. So he plays for b5. Now g5, the knight goes back to d7 square, and now here in this position, very simple move can be knight into d7, just exchanging the knights in the center of the board and going for the e4, trying to get some counterplay in the center of the board before black gets b4 breakthrough, means rook b8. It is going to take some time for black to develop the attack on the queen side. Before that, you should strike in the center of the board, but he did not go for that. Anirban played the first inaccuracy in the opening. He played queen f3, and this loses the pawn with knight into e5, d into e5, queen into e5. Now Vaibhav is pawn up. He's completely fine here. There is no attack on his king, and white's king still needs to be safe. Okay, the threats are still there. b4 is still in the air, anything can happen. Now he plays h4, obviously support the pawn. Now knight comes to c6 square in order to prepare for the b4 breakthrough. And now here it is again the chance for Anirban is there only if he plays e4. Then obviously if he capture here, then it will give lots of chances for white. And if black doesn't capture here, if he plays d4, then also you can say the fight will be on after queen e3, and the game will go on, because white will be getting f4 at some point and he can try something. But if you are not going for the central breakthrough, then you will never get any chance from the white side. So here e4 was again the necessary move, but here he plays g6. I don't know why he exactly played, but this is definitely not a good move. And finally he plays e4, but this is too late. He has already lost 2 pawns, and now the position is also very solid. Vaibhav goes for the long castle, just going away from the main action which is going to happen in the center of the board. Okay, so after long castle, he captures the pawn on f7, and now here in this position, the best possible move was to play rook h f8. If this is captured, then definitely we can play d4, and after c into d4, knight into d4, black's attack will be very strong, because the pawn on f2 is also weak, and c3 is also something which will happen very soon in the game. Okay, so here in this position he played will be, well, after g5 move, the best possible way for white to play was to play knight f3, because now the queen on e5 is being attacked, the pawn on g5 is also being attacked. Best possible way for black to play was queen f4 and going for the queen exchanges, and game might go on with e into d5, e into d5, rook at g1, and we can say that the position is balanced. Okay, but here after knight f3, everything was possible, but here in this position he played rook at g1, giving chance for black. And now Vaibhav captures the pawn on h4, rook into h4 was played, and here knight f3. Anirban thought like, okay, now I am attacking the queen as well as the rook, and it should be a mistake. And Vaibhav says like, okay man, I will give you a check, and you need to exchange the queens and everything will be fine. But but after queen f4 move, something was happening. Means something happened which was completely unexpected from Anirban. He is a very strong player. Okay, I have seen his games, but in this position he played king b1, which was a big blunder. This complete big blunder, because now queen on f7 is completely hanging, and Vaibhav very happily captures the queen on f7, and this is just disaster. After this the game went on for some moves, but Vaibhav never made any mistake, and Anirban never got any chance to get back into the game. After e into d5, e into d5, rook d e1 was played. He captured the pawn here. Okay, rook d e1 was played and he captured the pawn on f2, and the game went on. I'll just go through the moves. Now he brings back the queen in the safe zone, and I'll just go for the moves, and you can see finally d4 came, and white's king is completely exposed. So h3, he is going for his pawn. Rook into g7, queen d6, rook here, queen d3 check, and king a1. He captures the pawn here, and now he brings the very important piece, that is the knight in the game. Although rook d2 followed by queen b2 checkmate was very close mate. Even if you give this check, we can definitely play this move. If you give this check, king d6, and there is no satisfactory check is there from the white side, and the mate is going to happen very quickly. But okay, the knight d4 was played in the game, but still this is winning. Means this is simply winning. Rook c1 was played, queen d3, king b2. He captures the rook here, and finally after all these things he captures another rook, and Anirban resigned in this game. So good game by Vaibhav. Since starting he played very nicely. In the middle game also he got the pawn, and he never let his opponent under pressure. He kept pressure going on, and because of that pressure only Anirban made the epic queen blunder, we can say. And all the best for Vaibhav for the finals. We will see who is going to play against him in the finals, and I hope that Vaibhav's coach, that is Adiban, is going to win the best prize for the coach also. So guys, Vaibhav Sethia OP should be there in the chat, and comedians on board OP should also be there. Till then, see you in the next lecture, means video. Till then, take care and goodbye.